Welcome to everyone under the sun and sky. This is Library Hound, and today we're reviewing The Forgotten Girl by India Hill Brown. Cover design by Maeve Norton. The cover is a stunning chilly blue, edged with white snow-crusted branches. They surround and reach out to a young child, a sweet little girl with demonic eyes. It was first published in November of 2019 by Scholastic Press. It is listed as a middle grade horror for readers ages 8 to 12. Before we begin, you might be wondering what we're doing in Minecraft. Well, we're on an adventure, a quest, a Minecraft Ultimate Library adventure, where we are going to build biggest library Minecraft has ever seen, and we're going to be building it one book review at a time. So, let's get across this pit here. Safety. Number of times I've died by a pit. Alright, so one book review at a time. Today we will be exploring our survival grounds, trying to find a new place, our library zones, as it will. And if we die, we just have to try again and hope that we survive this time and the next. And if we die, try again. I also just try to get food to survive. So, we'll see if we die this time around to get it as well. I was kind of hoping we could get to a nice area before then. But, actually this area looks really good. So we might do an emergency stop here. Alright, go. Alright, we're going to do an emergency, dig into the cave, and then we can break and discuss the book zone. I've already died a couple times. We'll see. I'll probably have a blooper playthrough, hopefully, of all the times I've died in the attempts to get here. Okay. I think we're pretty safe. So, let's kind of watch the sky and set up, and then we can continue our book review. All right. Now, let's get back to the book at hand. Spoiler free, of course. I'll try my best. The Forgotten Girl centers on 12-year-old Iris Rose and her best friend, 12-year-old Daniel Stone. India Hill Brown introduces us to the Rose and Stone family, longtime residents of Esau, North Carolina. They are both delightful, loving, wonderful families that I would jump through many hoops to be a part of. The author does an excellent job welcoming the reader into a culture and community they may be unfamiliar with, as well as giving words for unfamiliar actions, like sucking your teeth, which I often got in trouble for doing as a child, but they never had a term for it. The mother-daughter bonding through nightly hair wrapping to protect Iris's and then Vashti's braids I thought was heartwarming, very sweet. Iris's feeling of betrayal then when she has to share that favorite silk scarf with her younger sister brought me right back to the often unjust world of younger sibling relationships and that feeling where everything you own isn't really yours. So I felt that, even though it was just one night, it was tough for Iris. Iris is imaginative, a leader, and has an endearingly relatable relationship with her 4-year-old sister Vashti. Vashti wants to be just like her big sister, but Iris wants to be independent, not fade into the background like she seems to be Unfortunately, the world kind of seems to be making her do it in the moment. At least that's her feeling. Everything seems to be turning up Vashti, other students at school, just no matter what Iris actually is succeeding at. And that is until she discovers the abandoned grave of an 11-year-old girl, a girl named Avery Moore. Avery is a restless spirit, and she and Iris have a lot in common, a lot more than even she thinks at first. Iris definitely enjoys the increased attention thanks to Avery's actions, but soon the ghost's desire to be remembered puts Iris's safety on the line. Now, Daniel is the logical side of our duo, increasingly cautious and shouldering even more responsibility after his father's passing. He's even been retracting from his more boisterous friends on the basketball court, which was a passion he shared with his late father. But now Daniel just goes straight home after school, which, oh my gosh, the amount of times I related to this book was just so much. But just kind of that withdrawing from something that used to be either shared or praised with a loved one is just very sweet. And it was touching to see an author actually show a child going through it. And then eventually, maybe even reaching out, he takes care of his grandmother, his mom, his grades, and his best friend, neighbor, Iris. Daniel is loyal, even keeping his promise to sneak out and play with Iris on the first night of snowfall every year. Now, let's get into the favorites. So many favorites. The characters were all just very adorable, and you could relate to pretty much everyone, I'd say. But by far my favorite character was Daniel's paternal grandmother, known as Suga for most of the novel. She's amazing. Just each of her beliefs and superstitions just whisper warnings to the reader, and just like cautions rooted in past wrongs. As Suga grew up in Esau, North Carolina, when life there was segregated by law. For example, putting a broomstick under the bed to keep away night terrors. When the night witch rode my back during nightmares and bouts of sleep paralysis as a child, this might have helped calm some of the anxieties I felt, or at least maybe done something as a placebo effect. But it left me curious. Like, what are the sources of the superstition? Like, especially the broomstick one. How did that appear in the community? And how did they come to the superstition to where you had to put a broomstick specifically under the bed to keep away the sleep paralysis and nightmares? But very interesting. Sugar is the kind of person that I could talk to for hours. In another line, Suga mentions that her sister could understand the whispers of the trees, and that line just gave me the shivers, just imagining the countless wrongs done in the shadows of forests all throughout the U.S., but especially in the South during segregation and slavery and even beyond then. So I don't think their stories would be peaceful, especially not the more that we kind of learn. Through Suga's connection to the spiritual world and local history, Iris and Daniel fight for recognition for themselves and the dead of Esau, North Carolina, within their community. The author does a wonderful job keeping the voices of Daniel and Iris age appropriate, even among the serious topic of U.S. school segregation, the harms done to Black residents through the creation, enforcement, and the later destruction of segregated graveyards. All of our main characters are African American, giving the reader insight into the repeated slights of prejudice children of color experience in the United States school system, both minor and major, past and present. Moments where both administrators and fellow students forget to include Iris in school recognition events, or dismiss the award-winning step team's practice times in favor of older clubs. Suga is from a time when these moments of racial inequity were far harsher. The topics of death, racism, and America's race-segregated laws are covered with a light, empathetic touch, presenting life as it is and was for Suga, Iris, and many members of the Black community. As such, this book would make a great fictional pairing with a U.S. history or government lesson, and could encourage critical discussion on the community effects of discrimination and race-based laws. This book also centers on the discovery and recognition of unmarked graves, an important part of the United States' current history, as the graves of Indigenous children are currently being uncovered at alarming rates at the many religious residential schools, and then we have the statues honoring Confederate soldiers being removed from public places. This book encourages the reader to explore their community and help recognize the lives and accomplishment that those in power would very often erase from history and would rather not put in highlight.
The Forgotten Girl is altogether a perfectly spooky middle grade horror novel inspired by real-life historical events, which many towns in the United States have experienced similar stories. Often similar stories that are equally unexplored.
It is a wonderful example of an author taking inspiration from a little talked about history and then revealing the hidden connections between the past and present. Avery Moore is a chilling ghost, and Miss India Hill Brown makes the reader feel every wind gust and snowstorm that she writes. Some of the themes explored include loss and friendship, recognition and the pain of being forgotten, family ties, as well as the friends that become family. All are interwoven into a ghost girl's anger, her search for her forever friend, and her deadly plan to get recognition at last. The strengths of this book are many. It's very well written, especially considering as a debut. Iris's home life in particular is thoroughly described, focusing more on actions and the feeling of the environments rather than describing every furniture detail or every character's daily clothing. The author saves the most description for the scary moments, when the protagonist's mind is working a mile a minute, which works well to keep the pace moving. These scary moments are indeed scary, causing skin-prickling shivers. I highly recommend for the reader looking for a relatively new, cemetery-focused ghost story. I found myself wanting more time spent in the narrator's feelings, particularly in moments where the adults assume something or don't believe the kids. Both Iris and Daniel are really great kids in loving families, so I would have loved some more internal dialogue about these points of disconnect between parent and child. I'll end this review with my biggest complaint, that there hasn't been more published by this author. Yet. Her second novel is The Girl in the Lake, published by Scholastic and will be released January 4th, 2022. It is also a horror story inspired by the history of pool segregation in the U.S., and I can't wait to see how her writer's voice has grown. Go pre-order it here. Until then, check out The Forgotten Girl by India Hill Brown which balances history and horror, friendship among fear, and is a choice read for adults and kids alike. And before I forget, who am I? Let's see. In real life, I live, oh gosh. In real life, I live in Oregon. My legal name is Jasper Shiflett. You can find me on Twitter at JL Shiflett. I'm nearly 28, trans, autistic. I use he, him pronouns. I'm a ceramic artist and a writer-illustrator. I'm currently working on picture book dummies, thinking about turning a middle grade story I wrote into a graphic novel, and currently adding stock to my Etsy shop at Forest Paw Prints by JS. And once again, thank you all for joining me again today. This has been a great start to our adventure as we have a home base set up. This will be a good kind of initial zone, good build from the basement up of our library. I think this might actually become the basement. And yeah, this will be great. So don't forget to check out the book, for The Forgotten Girl. Follow the author, India Hill Brown. All her info is going to be down below. And we will continue our Minecraft library epic with another book another day. As always, feel free to leave any book requests, critiques, suggestions, or just to say hi in the comments. Like if you like, and subscribe with a bell. Bye-bye.